What's up, Bulls Nation, and welcome in to CHGO Bulls pregame, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download their app. Be sure to use promo code CHGO when you sign up. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. My guy, Will the Goat Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb, hanging out with us at our downtown CHGO studios. It's our pal and producer, Joey Spathis. Follow Joey1K at Joey Spathis on Twitter. And sidebar, kicking it at the Homestead tonight, it's our guy, Big Dave. Bow! BWL Sports.
In your face.
In your face. Gentlemen, Game 2, do or die, Bulls Heat, Jimmy Butler. What more could you ask for?
I was listening to another podcast talking about this, and it was really funny the way that we're talking about like the long history of like Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway against Jordan, and you know, the Nocioni Luol Deng Bulls against the Shaq and D-Wade Bulls.
Baby Bulls swept the Heat, defending champs.
Then Derrick Rose versus LeBron and D-Wade. And now we have
the
Game
next epic
84.
chapter of the Bulls-Heat rivalry.
Game 84 of the 2022-2023 NBA season. The play-in tournament, Chicago Bulls versus
Stakes
the Miami Heat.
never higher.
Never higher.
Dave, how you feeling, man?
Franchises.
I'm ready to watch. Like, I'm just ready to sit back and enjoy this, man. Like you said, there's a real history there between these two teams, and like even a more recent one, as you just mentioned, Will, with Jimmy Butler being there in Miami. And I mean, the ghost of Michael Jordan looming large, because you know his jersey is hanging in the rafters of the American Airlines Center because that number got retired by Pat Riley because Jordan is that great. So that is there as well. So it's a lot on the line. Udonis Haslem, you know, might be his last game, you know what I'm saying, that's playing for the Miami Heat. And the changes that might be coming for the Chicago Bulls that I'm sure some of us are ready to get to. So, yeah, it's a lot on the line going on right now for this, man. And this is honestly what it's so much fun for me, for the postseason, those nerves, you know, being on that edge and how's my team going to come out? And you're trying to look at every kind of single advantage, looking at both these teams. You know what I mean? Like, just like, where do you get an advantage from? You know, how many people are going to be in the arena? Is DeMar's daughter going to be there? Like, you're looking for every kind of advantage that can be given to both teams, man. So it's a fun time, man, and I'm ready to watch.
I got to say, the early indication from the comments, Bulls fans feeling confident coming into this game. Deacon in the comments saying Bulls in 1. That's clever. Cameron.
That's my thing. I've been saying that.
Bulls taking these punks to town. Let's go. Marco saying, what's up, Matt, Big Dave, the GOAT, and Joey? Heat is up here in Chicago, but the Bulls will turn down the Heat in South Beach. Let's freaking go see red. Connor, meanwhile, saying 1 game away from 500. Let's get it. These playing games don't really count towards your regular season record, so the Bulls will finish with a losing record this season. Also, if at any point earlier this season is any indication, what do the Bulls do when they get that 1 win away from getting back to 500? They shit the bed, don't they? I'm just saying. If you're going to continue on that trend.
It's really a shame you're not in today, Dave, because we need somebody to cancel out the bitterness that's happening over there.
Yeah, I know, right? I thought about that a lot. I was like, man, it's going to be a lot on Will today. I don't think he's ever taken on this full thing of Matt Peck by himself.
Optimist hat.
You're in postseason Peck mode.
I don't feel comfortable in that role.
Peck. Yeah, bro. I'm sorry. Let me just apologize for what you're about to witness, because it's going down, bro. It's about to go down.
And look, I'm not saying that it's foolish for Bulls fans to be confident coming into this game. The Bulls swept the regular season series with the Heat. 3 games, 3 victories, and all in fairly convincing fashion. You know, as I recall, the Heat maybe were missing a key guy here or there with injuries in 1 or 2 of those games, but, you know, the Bulls have dealt with injuries throughout their season as well. When you look at who you might see as the guy for the Bulls tonight, like it was Zach LaVine in that insane second half he had against the Raptors Wednesday, DeMar DeRozan was the one leading the Bulls to these victories over the Heat all season long. He averaged 28 points and 8 assists in their 3 wins over the Heat, Will.
He did, and part of the reason is because of a 37 or 38 point performance in the season opener, which obviously the Bulls won. Zach was out that game. That was the, like, everybody freak out about Zach's knee. Is he going to be okay?
Oh, my God. That's a lifetime ago.
And then in that third game, if memory stands, it wasn't really like anybody really going off. It was more just like a solid team effort. The Bulls went up as many as 30. Mark was in town. You guys were watching the game in the stadium, and it just felt like it was over the whole time. Of course, the Heat made a run, and the Bulls kind of held them off. So I thought that was a really good sign. But same as last game, I think it's going to come down to Zach and DeMar doing their thing. Obviously, Zach has been the one that's gotten really hot of late, but DeMar is still DeMar DeRozan, and I think they're going to need all of that scoring. I mean, this Heat defense is really good, and if they can turn this into a shootout, I think there's really no way the Bulls lose.
Yeah, that's true. And it's so interesting because, Matt, you mentioned how the Bulls are undefeated, you know, in the regular season, and that's why I love this play-in so much, because that stuff goes out the window in a one-game scenario. Remember, like, the Heat beat the Hawks 3-1 during the season, and they got their ass whipped. And the Pelicans beat the Thunder 3-1 in their season, and the Pelicans are at home. So everything goes out the window at this moment in time. It just comes down to who wants it more. And as Will points out, like, who's the best 2 players on the floor? That's who it's going to come down to. So do you believe in their 2 best, or do you believe in the Bulls' 2 best? We're going to see, man. But, yeah, that's what it's about, baby.
You know, Will, you wrote a great preview column for this Bulls Heat matchup tonight on ALLCITY.com, and you talked about the switchability of the Heat defense and how Bam has so much to do with that. On top of that, the fact that the Heat run more zone time defensively than any other NBA team, considerably so. Do you expect that to be the case per usual tonight?
That's what it's going to be. I was looking at the synergy numbers, and I don't have them right in front of me here, but, like, I think the Heat run zone like 20% of their defensive possessions. The next closest is the Grizzlies at like 14%, and then everybody else is like way less than 10.
Yeah.
So the Heat do it a ton. They're going to go to that, and basically what that's going to do is force the Bulls to either shoot over the top. We know they're not a three-point shooting team. We know they don't want to do that, so they're going to have to attack the gaps and find the middle, whether it's DeMar cutting down the lane the way that he did when Zach found him for that dunk at the end of the Raptors game, or finding Vooch in the middle and letting him play make, or just shoot over the top because he's got that nice free throw line jumper. So you kind of have to be ready for anything when it comes to Eric Spoelstra, similar to Nick Nurse. But this Heat defense is really unique because of Bam Adebayo and his ability to switch, his ability to guard everybody from Vooch to DeRozan to LaVine to, you know, whoever else they decide to put him on.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting about this team, Will. Like you said, they're unique in their defense, and I think they're unique in their offense as well. Because we know what Jimmy Butler is, but everybody else is kind of a toss-up. They're supposed to play together, you know, and the ball is supposed to be – I think the ball is the star of the show, to be honest, because however the ball is moving and the rhythm within the ball and how it finds certain players, that's the player who's going to get off that night. So if the rhythm of the ball is going inside to Bam Adebayo, he can be the one to get it. If it's Tyler Hero, he could be the one. If it's Max Strus, he could be the one. We've seen Gabe Vincent beat the Chicago Bulls. So it's so weird and strange. Their real offense, it's really strange. It's unique. Sometimes it works like gangbusters, like did last year. Sometimes it could blow up in your face like it's done this year. So it's going to be interesting to see, man. And they definitely have one guy who I'm concerned about more than Jimmy Butler, because this player has always killed the Bulls, and that's Kevin Love. And just has to do strictly with how that offense moves. Like I said, that rhythm of that ball, because the Bulls, as you all know, aren't great at three-point defense. They allow a lot of open three-pointers, and nobody loves open shots more than Kevin Love. He's like, cool, I don't have to do anything, just shoot the three. Great. Like, I'll do that all day. And he has absolutely torched the Bulls. He did it in Cleveland. You know what I mean? He would just torch them, being wide open from the 3-point line. So he's going to be big. If his three is falling, I mean, watch out, because that game could turn real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up, because it seems like Kevin Love has sort of been a forgotten element of the Heat's back end of the season. But you aren't wrong in that he's certainly made the Bulls defense vulnerable, regardless of what jersey he's been wearing for the last few years, Dave. On that thing of 3-point shooting, it works both ways, and I think the Bulls will get open looks. As you also made note of in your column, Will, the Heat give up a good amount of open threes, especially corner threes. Can the Bulls make and take them? Because they didn't shoot all that well from three in their game against Toronto on Wednesday. They made enough, and primarily, Zach LaVine made enough in the second half to get them back in it. But that is one thing that the Bulls did well in all three of their wins against the Heat this season, was knock down their threes. One of their victories, they shot 17 of 34 from three, 50% and 17 makes. I mean, we all who have sat here watching this team all season long know that is far outside the norm. And I saw Burhan in the comments said the Bulls are owed a good night shooting. I don't know if it works like that, but maybe not against the Heat, because they've already had some pretty good shooting against the Heat in the regular season.
Yeah, the way that they allow threes, I think, between the Bulls and the Heat is a little bit different. Like I said, Heat are going to be doing a lot of switching. They're going to be playing a lot of zone, and one way to beat that is to shoot over it. So in that sense, the Heat give up a lot of threes. The Bulls' defense is built to take away the rim, take away the paint, and force the kick out so that they can go scramble out there and contest. So it is a little bit different. The Heat take a ton of threes, do not make very many. The Bulls do not take very many, but make sort of an average amount. I think they're around 15th in three-point percentage this year. So that could be sort of the great equalizer, as we've talked about for 83 games now. But, they actually have to take them for them to be able to make them. In this last game, it was the Pat Bev 4 threes in a quarter game. Like, I'm not sure you can really rely on that, and they still only ended up winning by 10. So it's not going to be like a gimme that the offense is going to go off. I mean, this Heat defense should not be underestimated because of the fact that the Bulls have scored well against them in the past.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break to tell you all about DraftKings. And when we come back, we'll continue breaking down tonight's Bulls Heat game on deck, including our X factors for tonight's game and our picks.
The X factor
for who's winning and what the final score will be. Tonight's pregame here at CHGO Bulls brought to you by our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's NBA playoff time, baby. That means big hoops action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NBA. Get in on the excitement of every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Plus, everyone can have fun with those no-sweat same-game parlays every day during the NBA playoffs. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, no sweat, because you're getting a bonus bet back up to $10. By the way, if you guys recall, we were here Wednesday during pregame. I gave you all my pick of the week, and I told y'all to take the over on Pelicans Thunder, total points. Told you to also take Thunder plus 5.5. And then I said, if you're feeling real frisky, take the Thunder money line. Check, check, check. Boom. Make your bets for Bulls Heat tonight. Tonight. You know what? I'm gonna say something. I put money on the Bulls to win tonight.
Better to be right than
hedging my happiness, y'all.
Than happy.
Hedging my happiness.
Better to be right than happy.
Whether you think Bulls are going to win or Vooch is getting a double-double or how many points Zach or DeMar will have, throw it all into one same-game parlay at DraftKings Sportsbook. And don't forget that promo code CHGO to take advantage of their incredible offer for new customers of $5 down for $150 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings Sportsbook, CHGO, the promo code. All right, gentlemen, X factors for tonight's game. Big Dave, why don't we have you kick us off? Who you got?
X factor tonight for me is one young Alec Jacoby White. For me, it's this. If the Bulls are doing what they're doing, Zach is cooking and, Vooch, if their big three are doing their thing, and let's say Patrick Williams is having, the average Patrick Williams game, all Kobe White has to do is hit a couple shots in a row, and he will honestly break the back of the Heat. He can be that guy that ends this quick for the Heat, because if he's on a heater and he gets cooking and he catches fire from three and puts in those points that they're not expecting, and those points that, you know, can supplement while DeMar and Zach are on the bench. I mean, for me, it's game over if he's doing that. There's nothing you got for the Bulls if Kobe White is cooking, man. So for me, he's that X factor for them tonight, man. And I'm hoping he puts it all together, because he's been absolutely great.
I dig that. Joey, I see that you have Patrick as your X factor for this game. Which Patrick and why?
And I have another follow-up question.
Yes.
Actually, answer which Patrick first.
No, well, let me hear the follow-up.
I was going to ask if Patrick Williams can get first basket if he's not starting.
Well, to answer your question, it's Patrick Baldwin Jr.,
Oh,
who is our, no, just kidding. I don't actually remember who that was.
he's on the Warriors. So
Beanzarelli. We had that guy who used to comment all the time about Patrick Baldwin Jr. It's Patrick Williams, 3-point shooting against the Heat, struggled to score in the half court, and I maybe was going to pick Kobe until I saw that Dave did. So, Patrick Williams.
Fair enough.
He theoretically could be first bucket scorer, not coming in.
That's not a great bet.
Off the bench.
I'll go with Zach tonight for first basket.
Not a great bet. It's 0-0, 6 minutes into the first quarter, and here comes Patrick Williams. I just got this message from our friend Mark K. Under the wire, his X factor, he said Billy Donovan, adjusting to the range of the defensive schemes that Spo and the Heat are about to throw at the Bulls tonight. I love that pick from Mark.
I do too. And guess what? Nick Nurse and Eric Spoelstra, considered two of the top coaches in the league, two of the top tacticians in the league, two of the top player development guys in the league. Billy Donovan's got to do his thing if the Bulls want to win these two games.
It's a tall task.
I think that's sort of an underrated storyline here of Billy sort of out-coaching two of the best in the game.
I did see, it was funny that Mark was just, I mean, it's like giving chum to the water in a giant pool of sharks. The Billy haters that Mark still interacts with on Twitter every day, I don't know why he does it to himself, but they were, a lot of them in Mark's mentions were saying, well, the Bulls won that game Wednesday against Toronto in spite of Billy Donovan, not because of him, and he didn't make any adjustments, or the coaching choices he made were bad, and why the hell did he not start Patrick Williams against a Raptors team with that much size? And Mark was like, did you just see the game that Alex Caruso had tonight? What were you watching? Like, I think that Billy's coaching decisions worked pretty darn well on Wednesday. But, yeah, you are absolutely right to point out that Spo is a mastermind in his own right.
Best coach in the league.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Billy handles that.
Yeah, I want to add to that, Matt. Billy Donovan outcoached Nick Nurse. Like, I need people to know that and understand that he really did outcoach him, man. Just watch that game. I watched the replay of that game and was even more convinced of that. He definitely outcoached Nick Nurse on that one, man. And that's saying a whole lot, because of people and how they feel about Billy Donovan this season, myself included. But two, because of who it was against. Like you said, that's Nick Nurse. That's one of the best in the league. And to do it again against Spo, that would be absolutely colossal.
And, like, the one knock that I think is a legitimate one, I mean, there's maybe a couple, but, like, the biggest knock on Billy Donovan is the lack of adjustments in big playoff games. And, like, he just did that.
Yeah. Will, you got Vooch for your X factor?
I do. I kind of alluded to it. I think the way the Heat play defense with the switching and with the zone, they have to attack the middle. The best way to do that is to get the ball to Vooch at the nail. And he has been really good against the Heat this year, averaging 19, 13, and 2, 70% true shooting, over 60% from the field, 40 on threes. He's going to have the pick and pop game, but I think really it's going to come down to like the playmaking and the jump shooting from the free throw line, where if he can find the corners or backdoor cutters or just get to that little push shot in the paint, I think the Heat are going to have a really tough time stopping him, especially if they want to switch Bam out onto, let's say, DeMar to try to give him some trouble in sort of the mid-range area. Then Vooch is by himself. You can post him up, but they really don't have anybody else other than maybe Kevin Love who you can throw at him. So I like Vooch tonight. I think he's going to maybe it's not like a huge scoring night, but I think he has a big impact on the way the offense flows.
Yeah, and it's interesting to point out that, I don't know if you guys saw it, but on NBA Today, they did an interview with Zach and DeMar from the Bulls team plane on their way down to Miami after beating the Raptors. And DeMar was singing Vooch's praises, saying, like, does not get nearly enough credit. He's such a huge part of what we do when we do things well, when we win. And he's right about that. I did notice that in their game Wednesday against Toronto, his three ball was not falling. Vooch's three ball was off. So as you said, well, maybe if he gets some looks inside, maybe some of those, short mid-range jumpers that he's so confident with getting going, then maybe when the time comes to knock down a big three, he can hit one. Because that's something we've also seen from Vooch consistently with the Bulls. Even when he is not hitting his threes consistently throughout a game, he's still confident to take them and sometimes hits big ones late in the game.
Yeah, only 32% on threes after the All-Star break. Kind of an underrated storyline.
Yeah.
The shot just has not been there the way it was to start the year.
I'm going with – go ahead, Dave.
I just wanted to ask Will a quick question about Bam playing on DeMar. Because I've seen that work, Will, on him on other teams, like Bam playing against the best player and defending him. Like, how do they get away with that? Well, how do they make that work so well without having somebody in the paint to stop, let's say, any kind of center that's down there in the league? Because we seen them do that a lot and do it a lot successfully about him switching and guarding other players.
I mean, that's what makes him a special defender. He's going to be on the short list for Defensive Player of the Year every single year until he falls out of his prime. The way he moves his feet, his strength, and the wingspan allows him to block shots. I think he can really give guys like DeMar trouble who kind of rely on obviously outsmarting guys and out footworking guys, but he's also much stronger than a lot of the guys that try to defend him, to where he can kind of bully you to his spot and then get into his pump fake game. If he's not able to get to his spot, I think that makes his life a lot harder. We know how sort of methodical he is and the way that he likes to get into his shots. So if he's sped up at all, or if he just can't get to his spot to get that shot off, you're going to be relying a lot on Zach. And to your point, maybe they don't have the rim protection there, but if the Bulls can't get into the teeth of the defense anyway, that rim protection becomes a lot less important. You're kind of cutting that off before you even need it. So that could be sort of a weapon that the Heat go to maybe later in the game, depending on how things are going. But that also frees up Jimmy to guard Zach. And if you're putting those two elite level defenders on your two best players, somebody else has to step up. And I think it's going to be a situation similar to the Raptors, similar to the Bucks last year in the playoffs, where they just make the role guys beat you.
Yeah, that checks out. And which is why, like, when I looked at this game, and being probably the only person to pick a Heat, because, why not? For X Factors, I went with Tyler Hero. Look, Kyle Lowry, to his credit, had an absolutely insane game for the Heat in their losing effort against the Hawks in their 7-8 play-in game. It came out of nowhere. Kyle Lowry has not been that kind of scorer for the Heat, really has not been that kind of scorer in the NBA for a while now. I don't see him replicating that. So beyond Jimmy doing Jimmy things, hitting his mid-range shots and getting to the free throw line somewhere between 10 and 18 times, who for this Heat team that can be so pathetic offensively can step up and help Jimmy give them enough scoring to beat the Bulls tonight? And it's Tyler Hero. It's a guy who's won the Sixth-Man Award. It's a guy who in the bubble was an absolute phenom and has kind of been hit or miss this season. I mean, he's no slouch. He's averaging 20 points per game on the season, pretty much what he averaged spanning 3 games against the Bulls this season. I'm just a little, there's a part of me that's like, we might get that Tyler Hero monster game, because it seems like something that's lurking and Bulls fans haven't dealt with in a while.
Yeah, and it also, just given the way the matchups are going to shake out, you're probably going to see Caruso on Jimmy, right? Pat Bev on Hero, Pat Bev on Lowry. So, where does really that secondary point of attack defense come from? I think they rely on Hero a lot to generate shots when, Jimmy's not running pick and roll. But if Kyle Lowry is out there too, that adds another dynamic playmaker. And the Bulls just they've been really successful defensively, but it's more of a scheme-based defense than like an individual, I'm just going to beat my man one-on-one kind of defense. And so I think that does open up Hero to have maybe Zach or DeMar chasing him around. And Zach has been awesome this year defensively, obviously on ball, but I think he's gotten a lot better off ball as well. Still a really tough matchup for him.
Without question. And I'm glad you mentioned that matchup, Matt, because I sure wanted to talk about that, Jimmy Butler and Caruso. I am terrified of this matchup because Jimmy Butler is the king of drawing fouls, and Caruso has been great at getting fouls called on him. And you know for a fact that Jimmy Butler is going at him early and often. If that's going to be the case, he's going to try to get those foul calls on him immediately. And that's what scares me the most is I know he's going to, because he's smart. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler's not a dummy. Like, he knows Alex Caruso is aggressive, and he's going to try to use that aggression against him. A lot of pump fakes, a lot of flopping. Like, you're going to see those things happen. And I just don't want him to get caught up in that. So I don't need him on Jimmy constantly early on. I'm going to need him on Jimmy like late in the game. That's when it needs to be. So I'm going to need some switches to happen. I'm going to need Patrick Williams to get a couple turns on him. I'm going to need Kobe to get a look just because of his size. Like, I need everybody to get a shot at him, man, because Alex Caruso showed you last time. He is invaluable to the Bulls right now, man, because he has to be out of foul trouble. In the fourth quarter, whatever. But leading up to that, he's got to be a little bit careful.
So here's the catch-22 that I have to ask you, Dave. During one of their games a couple weeks ago, you lost your mind when Billy Donovan used his challenge in the first half to challenge a Caruso foul, and you said you hated that move. If you need Caruso and his defense out there late in the game because he hasn't gotten his 6 fouls yet, what if that plays out tonight? What if Caruso is about to pick up his second quick foul and Billy Donovan challenges it? Will you be okay with that decision?
No, I will not. I will hate it with a passion. It is the first quarter, bro. It's the first half. I'm not using no challenge in the first half. That's why I hated it so much. It's the first half. Like, if he wants to use it later on, great. Yeah, I agree, but that's not the case right now.
Yeah.
What they have right now is the one challenge, and he should not be using it in the first half at all. So if you're worried about Caruso like that, then, sit him down or put him on someone else. Like, but don't just use your challenge. That you've handcuffed your team already for the rest of the game when you do something like that. So no, I hated it then. I'll hate it again if I see it tonight.
Before we get to our final score predictions, gentlemen, real quick, the NBA has released the finalists for all of their regular season awards as we've been sitting here chatting in pregame. I got good news and bad news for Bulls fans. Good news, DeMar DeRozan has been named a final nominee for the Kia NBA Clutch Player of the Year award. Kudos to DeMar. I'm kind of curious as if they are doing this retroactively for last season when this award didn't exist yet, because we love DeMar, King of the Fourth, et cetera, et cetera. The Bulls and DeMar have not been winning a whole lot of games in clutch situations this season. Quite the opposite. I'm surprised to see that, honestly.
A little surprised too. Obviously not the same clutch season that he had last year with the back-to-back buzzer beaters. He's still really good in those situations. I think he had one against the Knicks that sealed the win.
Yes.
It was right around the holidays, if I recall.
It feels a little retroactive,
in the Garden.
But I think from just like a respect standpoint, he's still kind of that dude in those moments. And I don't think he'll win it. I think Fox is deserved this year. I mean, he led the league in clutch wins in basically every single clutch statistic you can possibly come up with. Obviously had the game winner against the Bulls too. But DeMar, I think, deserves to be on the short list.
The other finalists alongside DeMar and De'Aaron Fox?
Jimothy Butler.
The G stands for gets.
The G stands for gets. And you want to know something? The Heat had the most clutch wins this year.
Yeah.
So their point differential was negative, but because they performed so well in the clutch, they were able to outperform that point differential and get up to 44 wins. So that will be another key. Like, can the Bulls pull off a clutch win if this thing is close? Because the Heat really good at it this year. The Bulls really bad at it this year. But obviously we know DeMar is that dude.
Yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble, Will. Alex Caruso, not a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. That is Jaren Jackson Jr., Brooke Lopez, and Evan Mobley.
Fire it into the sun. This is a sham.
Another familiar name for Bulls fans making one of these lists. Finalists for Kia Most Improved, Lauri Markkanen, alongside SGA
the winner.
and Jalen Brunson. So As you'd expect, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, the finalists for MVP. Paolo, Walker Kessler, Jalen Williams, rookie. Brogdon, Bobby Portis, another Bulls fan favorite. And quickly as sixth man of the year. Mike Brown, Diagonal, and Joe Mazzulla as coaches of the year. All right, gentlemen, how are we seeing this? I saw a lot of picks for Bulls wins as we were gathering our picks earlier today.
Mm-hmm. There it is.
Big Dave, you have the Bulls winning fairly comfortably.
Yeah, like honestly, they should. Like it should be a game they just take from the Heat. I don't know if the Heat want to win. I don't know if they want to, go to the next round, want to play. They just don't seem like it. They seem like a team that's just ready to chill, to be honest. But to put it past them, like to act like they won't want to, get it together or won't get it together, like they not a competitive basketball team, wouldn't be fair because that's what they've been and that's who they are. But the Bulls should really just to dominate this game against them, man. I think their defense is better. And I think they have, if I'm bringing it down to two of the best players, give me DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine over Jimmy Butler and the Temptations, whoever they want to put out there. Like, I will take that every day of my life. So, yeah, man. And I'm just going to say, I just really think it should be that. It might be close. Who knows? Who knows what can happen? It's a play-in game. And like I said, it's 50-50 for everybody.
Our guy Kyle Williams had a nearly identical prediction to Dave's final score, Bulls winning comfortably. Will, you're also picking the Bulls tonight.
I am. I think they are the better team, quite frankly. I will say, I think a lot of people are expecting the Bulls to win pretty easily. I don't think that's going to be the case. This is going to be a really tough game. The Heat did not look good against the Hawks, but I think they were kind of overwhelmed. We talked about this before, and I was totally wrong. They were overwhelmed by the size and offensive rebounding and athleticism of the Hawks.
Hawks crushed them on the boards.
Crushed them on the boards. And the Heat could not finish in the lane. Jimmy missed 5 or 6 layups in the first quarter. I mean, it was just it was shocking to see them play that poorly against their size. The Bulls don't have that kind of size. And so I would not expect them to struggle that much offensively. I still think the Bulls have a couple of edges in terms of the way that the Heat's offense operating kind of falls into the hands of the way that the Bulls defend. They're not going to really have to work too hard to give up anything extra. And I think the Bulls have more offensive firepower. So I do think the Bulls will win, but I do not expect the Heat to look as bad as they did against the Hawks. I think it's going to be a closer game.
Yeah, I don't really know what you're rocking with, Dave, in the suggestion maybe that the Heat are ready to pack it in. Jimmy Butler, not the ready to pack it in type of player. Spo, not the ready to pack it in type of coach. I think that they're embarrassed that they lost to Atlanta on their home floor in that 7-8 game. I think they're coming out pissed, whereas the Bulls are coming in maybe a little confident, a little full of themselves after that big comeback win on the road. And what have we seen happen all season when the Bulls start to feel a little bit good about themselves, a little too big for their britches? They lay a freaking egg. When everyone thinks, oh, this game, Bulls got this game. Bulls are taking this game. That's when they let you down. We've seen it all season long. This team has not had a 4-game winning streak this season. So everybody's on the Bulls bandwagon now. Oh, Heat, piece of cake. Heat in Miami, piece of cake. What drugs are y'all taking, and can I have some? I think it's going to be a close game, and as Will dutifully pointed out, Heat good in clutch games this season, Bulls bad in clutch games this season. That's why I'm saying Heat 110, Bulls 107. Not just because I want it to happen, because I think logically that's what I'm looking at.
Heat also 27 and 14.
Not you want it to happen.
Heat 27 and 14 at home, Bulls 18 and 23 on the road. So that's an edge as well.
I like this prediction from our guy Ben Dean, who said Bulls 137, Heat 100. I don't know about that. That is confidence. I like it. I like it. We will be here for postgame after the results of tonight's game. Either the Bulls win, punch their ticket, and have a date with the Bucks Sunday, Game 1, best of 7, or the season ends, and then we talk about where this team goes from there. We'll be back here for postgame. In the meantime, Will is Will_Gottlieb, Big Dave Bow, BWL Sports. Joey Spath is our producer at Joey Spathis. We are CHGO_Bulls. I'm Bulls_Peck. Thanks for watching pregame. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out if you haven't already. Subscribe to CHGO Sports YouTube channel, and we will see you for post-game. Joey Spathis, what time is it?
Game time, hoop.
Let's go.
Peace.
See you, Rabbi. Good
Target.
peace.